showtime.
Dreamworks has done it again, making another sequel that's just as great, or if not better, than the movie that preceded it. Yes, everybody, I am talking about The Bad Guys 2 in this video, and the whole new adventure they've brought with them. But please, if you're afraid for spoilers, don't be afraid to watch this video, because I will not be talking about spoilers here. There's a lot of great stuff to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and jump right into it.
We need the bad guys for the biggest heist in history.
So, The Bad Guys 2. It's a great movie. And honestly, it's a great sequel to an already great movie. Okay, so I've never made a video about The Bad Guys movie, the original, but what I will say now is that I do think it was a really good movie. The Bad Guys from 2022 was a brilliant, fun, and really engaging adventure film that had a lot of great animation bits in it. Back in 2022, it was one of Dreamworks' first films to experiment with using a lot of different 2D and 3D animation concepts. It was also one of Dreamworks' more funnier films in recent years. And honestly, I think that The Bad Guys from 2022 was a good film that laid a foundation for, of course, the next film that came out from Dreamworks, that being Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And I'm happy to say in this video that, like with Puss in Boots and The Last Wish, this movie also takes the original's ideas and amplifies them. So, to start with in this video, I just want to briefly talk about the characters and story. In the first 2022 film, it was great to see these characters and great to get introduced to them, because a lot of these characters just immediately from the start had great chemistry with one another. Sam Rockwell does a great job as one of the main characters, Mr. Wolf. And honestly, everybody else on this cast is doing just as great a job as well. But honestly, if I listed everybody's names, I'd probably be here for half an hour. So really, I'm just going to call out a few of my favourite performances. Zazie Beetz does a great performance as Diane Foxington. She's got a lot of good lines in this film, and a lot of great chemistry with Sam Rockwell's character, Mr. Wolf. Mark Maron and Craig Robinson do a great job as Mr. Snake and Mr. Shark. They've got some of the more funnier lines in the film, and some of the more funnier comedy bits in the film. But really, everybody on this cast does a really good job with a lot of the stuff they've been given. Lastly, Daniela Brooks does a great job voicing the character of Kitty Cat, who is this film's villain. Honestly, all the characters in this movie are great fun to watch. They've all got a brilliant chemistry with one another, and a lot of good funny comedy bits. However, when it comes to what I think this film does better than the original, would have to be its villain. Honestly, in the original film, we got what was basically a surprise villain. And really, I was so over surprise villains by that point that I couldn't enjoy a lot of what that character had to offer. Honestly though, in this film, we get something quite different, and something more befitting the name, The Bad Guys. Or, as they're instead labelled in this film, The Bad Girls. However, my favourite from the whole cast of characters would have to be Kitty Cat. And for anyone who's seen the film, I'm sure you'll agree. There's just so much written for this character that you really can see how this character has become this sort of person. And watching her back and forth with Mr. Wolf and herself is really quite entertaining and leads to some good story and character bits.
Maybe you don't keep up with the news, but we're good now.
I'm not exactly asking.
This movie is a great heist movie, but it's a great heist movie because the heist and the story haven't managed to steal time away from the characters. And I say this because in some previous heist films I've seen, I have noticed that the heist has managed to actually take away from the time meant for the characters. This movie is a fun, adventurous heist movie that doesn't get lost in the minutiae of its heist and actually allows for more time to be given to the comedy and characters.
Keeping my eye on you, guy.
What was that? I panicked, okay? I'm a panicker.
Like I said earlier, the 2022 version of The Bad Guys was one of Dreamworks' first experimental films that really saw a lot of the 2D, 3D merging that we've seen today. And like with the 2022 film, this film continues Dreamworks' line of experimentation. This film continues the idea of merging and mixing together a lot of different 2D and 3D animation aesthetics. And really, this animation is just a lot of fun because of it. There's a lot of great painted and textured details in this film. Really so much so that you can just look at something and know what it might feel like. Just by looking at this film, you can feel a lot of the softness in some smaller objects, but then feel a lot of the more rugged, solid aspects of a lot of larger objects as well. This film really builds off the original film's ideas when it comes to painted details, but doesn't go so far as to really play with a lot of the ideas that we saw in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Whereas Puss in Boots had a lot more painterly details that were scattered around and just really made for a more beautiful and painted aesthetic, this film instead chooses to focus on what the original Bad Guys film does and really use a lot of the painted details to really aim and maneuver the audience's focus in any one scene. But it's not only painted details, as this film infuses more new ideas from across the medium into its animation. When you're watching the film and seeing the animation in front of you, you can really see a lot more different and unique 2D elements infused into the 3D animation. These really help to emphasize character moments and story moments. Hell, in some really more chaotic scenes, they go full on 2D for some segments. Sure, those segments are very quick and very brief, but they really add to what the story is trying to show you on screen. This film's animation is great. I love how detailed and really experimental it is. But one last thing I want to talk about briefly is the lighting and shading. A lot of the lighting and shading in this film is great and really works with what different scenes need. However, when I was watching the movie, I did think that sometimes the lighting and shading could have been a little bit more extra perhaps. In comparison to what a lot of the animation is already doing, sometimes I did feel like the lighting and shading wasn't pulling its weight. And by that, what I mean is that sometimes when I was watching the movie, the lighting and shading could have been a bit more intense for some scenes, just to really help sell the mood. Otherwise, however, I think that this movie looked great and that its animation was brilliant. I really love it whenever I go to see a film and I find a film that is experimenting with a lot of different ideas and new concepts. And honestly, I'm loving what the animation industry is putting out at the moment, with various different films all experimenting with different ideas and creating new aesthetics. And that was The Bad Guys 2, a film I really enjoyed and think a lot of people will also really enjoy. It's a great looking film with a fantastic story and a great cast of characters that are all entertaining and fun to watch. And really, with what films are out at the moment, I really recommend that everybody go out and just see this film if you want to. I'm sure a lot of great artists worked on this film, with each one always trying to make each frame look like a work of art. So much so that I really think that people should go out and support this film and all the artists who worked on it just by seeing it. I mean, most people have already seen Superman by now, so please, just go out and see this movie if you can. Lastly, if you've already seen the film, please let me know what you thought of the film in the comments section below. Thank you all for watching. Remember to always do the usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe and everything else, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.